First bit is the ratata. Ratata.
Ratata. I pull up, that shit go ratata, bitch.
Hey party people, Ove12 here and welcome to the 25th Suburban Gooner Podcast. I hope you missed us. We were away last week on the fantastic Gooner Girls Podcast, as we called it, the Suburban Gooner Girls Podcast, because it's all of us except Chris, because the tube strikes. But you're here today, aren't you, Chris?
Ratatata.
Ratata! And Ben, you're here with us?
Podcast
I am
is
here.
downhill. I have set the tone, and it's all thanks to Bryan Silva. Look him up on Vine. People, Bryan Silva, make him famous.
Make him famous.
Make him famous. I think he is famous, to be honest.
Oh, love it.
And the fantastic news is we have absolutely no agenda, so we're just going to be making weird noises like that all evening. We're going to try and keep it to half an hour, and I haven't actually watched any football all weekend because I've been in Butlins in Bognor Regis watching my son play football and getting very sunburnt. So the game, I didn't miss much apparently, did I, Ben?
No, it was like an Emirates Cup runner-up match. It wasn't even the.
It wasn't even when they've got something to play for.
No,
They
it
can't
wasn't.
even play for the Emirates Cup trophy. It's like, no, we're not even going to have West Brom along to the Emirates Cup this year. Let's give them a 20-minute run out towards the end when everyone's gone home.
Speaking of the Emirates Cup, we've got quite a good lineup this year, haven't we?
What is it?
Philip Senderos comes back. That's all I know. That's all anyone cares about, the return of the conquering hero. He's been out to AC Milan. He's had a detour via West London. He's won the hearts of people across Europe. And he's gone out to Valencia to enjoy the beautiful oranges and the wonderful country that is Spain. And he's coming back to the Emirates this summer. Come on, people.
And and we have Valencia, we have Monaco, and
Falcao.
yeah, hopefully we get to see Falcao and Benfica as well.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, it'd be really good seeing Falcao line up for Monaco and us saying, oh, maybe, we could have bought him and stuff. But, I'm quite happy that we got Loic Remy in the end.
So straight on to that, because just before we went on air, you two were about to have an argument. Because Chris, you want Remy, Ben, you don't. Is that right?
Correct.
Fight.
Do you know what? This isn't I want Remy. This isn't a first choice. This is I've been emotionally drained over the last few transfer windows, so much so that the thought of us just getting any business done is more preferable to the debauchery of last summer. And we're going to have plenty of podcasts to talk about transfers and things like that. But if someone says to me, Loic Remy, who's a different proposition to Giroud, he's got pace, he's an all right finisher. I'd rather do that and if we were to then strengthen with big name players in other areas, I'm at the stage now where the expectations in terms of transfers and our ability to deliver on transfers is so low that it's almost like you take it. Who knows? He could end up being like Flamini. I mean, Flamini's been a revelation for us, hasn't he, this year? Benjamin, you have the floor.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I think we've gone on about this for the last few weeks, haven't it? It's that numbers is what we want, but I don't know. I just don't think he's good enough. But as you pointed out, if it got to the point where it was Remy or no one, you'd take Remy all day long, wouldn't you? But we saw the rumours this week of Carlos Vela coming back at a cut price. Is it 3.3 million?
I thought it was 4 million.
I think that was euros.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So he's another one that I think if you had to say Remy or Vela, I think I'd go Vela. Just because we know that he likes a stripper and a good night out, so we could go with him. Yeah. If his career sort of dive bombed, and then we could go and find Bentner, couldn't we, and just rub our genitalia against taxis.
Yeah, because if we
it
get
got that
Remy,
bad,
we'll be arrested.
Hang on.
Allegedly.
No, I was a big fan of Vela actually. I was a bit gutted to see him go. I even had him on my shirt because I'm a bit weird like that. But
Is there anyone you haven't got on your shirt?
no, I've just got a list of names on my shirt.
You don't have any numbers. You've just got loads of names.
He's got hashtag Deadwood, and then he's got like Shamak, Danielson. No, but
See, Bella.
But I suppose the thing is with Remy is he has kind of done it in the Premier League. I mean, I know he hasn't set it on fire, but he has scored goals.
No, I can see that argument, and he would be a good player, a good addition, because I suppose Bentner's off, and then that only really leaves us with Giroud as an out-and-out centre forward. So if he's going to have the confidence to make Walcott a centre forward, then Remy as well. You would say, yeah, go on then, because at least you've got three players of a similar quality. You could say better in different, do you know what I mean, areas. But you wouldn't say, oh, he's that much better than him. It's just because Walcott's quicker than Giroud that you might lean towards Walcott, if you see what I'm trying to say.
I suppose the worry would be that we still haven't got that major upgrade that everybody would want. I know you won for numbers, Ben, but we haven't got somebody who would come in and immediately say, right, I'm first choice kind of thing, and someone's got to get me out the team.
Here's a question to both of you, actually. If Loic Remy plays this season for Arsenal, let's just say we'd have bought him on loan, how many goals does he get in this Arsenal team? And because it's not always as easy as, well, Giroud's got 22 goals and Remy's got 15 goals, so that means between them they'll have had 36, 37 goals. Well, no, because of the way that we play, Remy's not going to play if Giroud's playing every game, and if Giroud plays every game, he gets his 22 goals. Remy doesn't get 14 goals if he's only coming off from the bench and stuff. So how many goals do you think those two would get between them?
I think he'd still get a fair few goals. I think it would probably have still been Giroud isn't the first choice striker, but the amount of games where we've just needed something a bit different or a bit of impetus, he would be quite a good option to do that. So I think, and in our, if he's scoring that kind of goals in the Newcastle team, he's going to score. He's going to easily score that in our team, even if it's not as much football, What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, it's hard to disagree, really, but I'm really struggling with this sort of transfer window. And as we sort of said on the Gooner Girls in the week, Steve, it's kind of, we've got to the point now where it's lose-lose for Arsene. Whereas I don't think, you could argue that Lucas Podolski's better than Remy. But obviously, again, down to attributes. Why would you then want to keep buying players of that certain level? Would it be better to say buy two players and chuck buckets of money at them? I'm talking sort of 40 million bracket players. Two more Rosals, let's say. Would that be better? Because if you're buying these players that obviously it's a lower risk, but you end up just getting rid of them each year, and you're spending the same amount of money if you just would have gone for, say we're looking at left wing, and you bring back Vela, for example, but you could have, I don't know, gone out and bought someone like Royce from Dortmund. Obviously, there's a different price bracket, but surely there's a less of a gamble in it.
I don't think you'd get Royce, though, would you?
No, it was just
because
a name.
I think with Lewandowski going, Dortmund will be fighting tooth and nail to keep all of their players.
Yeah.
So
that'd be the sort of a realistic, unrealistic signing, that if you could put a player on that left wing. But I really don't know. It just depends what
why the bloody hell aren't we just slapping 37 million quid down for Draxler?
Because he's...
Do it, get it done.
No, but
there
that's
you
a
go,
lot of
left
money.
winger.
It's a lot of money. It's another
That's a
risk
lot
as
of
well,
money.
isn't it?
He's tailed off this season. A lot of the German journalists have been saying that he's gone backwards.
That's because he's already signed his deal at the Emirates. It's done.
Oh, he's saving himself.
He's doing it on purpose so we can get him for cheaper.
It just depends what route he's going to go down, isn't it? Because you could see him signing Vela, and then you could see him signing Griezmann from Sociedad as well. So they're similar to when Pellegrini signed Negredo and Navas. They played together at Sevilla, didn't they? So they had that link up, and that's what he was hoping they would bring. You could argue that if you be silly and do some YouTube scouting on both of them, a lot of their goals are a combination of both.
Mm.
So does he go down that route? Does he go down the route of spending a lot of money on someone in the wider positions? Or does he try and find this, I don't know, super striker 2.0 to play up front?
Mm. I mean, we shouldn't... Giroud, this feels like the most tired statement that any Arsenal fan has said this season, because I've heard it said on so many podcasts in so many different ways. But Giroud and his limitations, for all of his limitations, he still bagged in a good goal this weekend, didn't he? It was a pretty good header, a good start to it. And I know you said, Steve, we shouldn't really talk about it because it was a testimonial game, but I thought he did all right. That's just him this season. It's just been all right in a team which really should have been a lot closer to the league, and we should still be getting excited and salivating a little bit over it. I thought Ozil was good again. I thought Ozil was brilliant in the side at the weekend, considering we had a team of players who were just sort of trotting around in the sunshine. And yeah, the saddest point about the weekend for me was blatantly obvious that Bakary was saying, "Cheerio, chaps." Apparently, the Arsenal fans were singing, "Sign him up" and all of that sort of stuff, but doesn't mean anything now, does it?
Where was Ramsey?
Wasn't even in the squad.
No, they were saying it was a thigh injury or strain or a precaution.
Yeah,
I don't want to say injury, that's the wrong word. I wanted to...
That's one of those where you raise your hands up beside your shoulders and make the quotation mark sign, because that was Wenger resting him. He protected him. I think they'll make quite a few changes this weekend. I don't think he'll make loads. I think Wilshere will play. I think he might give Fabianski a go. Don't know. What do you think the team would be this weekend, guys?
Steve, you go.
I think Fabianski wouldn't be a bad shout, like you say. I think he'll probably play him in the cup final, although as we spoke about, he's done it before where we got to the final and he changed the goalkeeper from Wright to Seaman. So it wouldn't be bad to give him some game time. Do we know any more about Gibbs?
No, it's gone a bit quiet.
It's a very strange one, that, isn't it? Because he played in the semi-final. He did all right, and he looked to be absolutely fine. But then he's just been not been seen since, has he? I find that really strange. I would hope he's back in the side, and maybe this weekend he'll give him sort of 30 minutes or 40 minutes if he's back in the side, because he'll want to be fit for that. That's that final. There'll be so many players that will want to be fit for that final. So.
Yeah.
Are we all worried about Hull?
No.
I'm not worried about Hull. I'm more worried about us, I suppose. It's we've been here before, haven't we? So it's a big worry, because even all other, I was speaking to some of the dads and stuff over the weekend at the football, and everyone's kind of saying, "Oh, you've won the FA Cup. You don't have to worry about that." And we thought that with Birmingham, didn't we? So
yeah.
It's a bit worrying. Did you see the story today, just changing the subject, about Man City potentially being fined and having a limited squad size in the Champions League?
Yeah, it's fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, but also slightly... The limited squad size is good, and that's the one that they'll contest. And I suspect that UEFA will probably crawl back into their caves a little bit nervous about that, because there's all kinds of questions that can be raised around restraint of trade, isn't there? Because if you've got 21 players as opposed to 25 in the squad, you could get 4 players that could then say, well, this is a restraint of trade for me. So, is that then going to cause an issue? Is that a legally logistical nightmare for UEFA? I mean, I jokingly wrote earlier on my Twitter that £50 million, wow, learnt a lot tonight, and that was that UEFA really are that greedy. But I guess they are spreading it over 3 seasons, so they're taking instalment payments for their money.
Yeah, because City need to pay in instalments, because they'll struggle with that, won't they?
£50 million is a lot of money, though, isn't
It is, yeah, it is, and that will have to go on their books, I presume, for the next year. So when they look at the fair play again for next year, it will be in their accounts, won't it? So
yeah,
that's probably more of the reason why they split it over the 3 years, I should imagine.
I bet what's his name, Scott Sinclair, was smiling when he saw the homegrown part, didn't they? Because they've got to have so many. That's the bit that's going to kill them. Because they've just, who have they got? Milner, Hart, Lescott. I assume they'll try and sign Lescott on some sort of contract.
Richards, I suppose, we might have traded him a new deal.
Yeah, see, they'll be trying to keep all these players that they were looking to get rid of. So it's good. This is what you want. It just makes it fairer, doesn't it? Like not just looking at us, but lesser teams. Because I've got this little theory that they somehow need to put a cap on the top price that you can pay for a player, because it just prices everyone out. And it's amusing that the two teams that started this mess, sort of City and Chelsea, and I suppose PSG have taken it to the next level. They're the ones getting shot in the foot. And you're seeing Chelsea, like rumours coming up that they're selling David Luiz to Barcelona for the exact fee that they bought him for. Obviously, the payoff so they can buy someone else. And
But that's if Barcelona can buy players.
well, no, they can. It's been
No, they can. That's been
Boo!
loophole.
Yeah.
But have you seen the stuff with PSG? They're pretty much in a point where they can only just they have to like almost trade players. I think they're trying to limit them to how much they can spend, which was something like 50, 60 million, I think. But I don't know, they have to offset it by getting rid of quite a few. So they were basically saying the best way for them in the transfer window is just trading. So they're going to be like rocking up to places saying, do you want Cavani? Or the vets?
Cavani for some goals.
It'd be like the most awesome game of real life, like Top Trumps or something.
Can you imagine like trying to trade ridiculous players for Cavani? We've got a Bentner. Can I have your shiny Cavani, please?
We've got a partially worn, slightly frayed around the edges, likes to do things with automobiles, looking Bentner. Can we have it for a really pristine, top of the notch, top of the range? It's like going to like
Cavani's are shiny. We have to give them two, so we'll have to give them Sanogo and Bentner. Yes, Park. Yes.
What about the
It'll just be a list of our deadwood. It'll be we can have Bentner, Park. It'll be like back in the days when you were a kid and you only needed one shiny to complete your sticker album, and you'd meet your mates in the playground, and you'd have a massive wad of about 800 stickers around, wrapped around one of those Royal Mail elasticated bands, and you'd be like, "I'll give you all of these for that one shiny," and they'd take it, and you'd be like, "It's only 87 replicas of Danny Maddox, so you're done over there, son. I've got my shiny though. See ya." I'd love a Cavani. How happy, unhappy is he, Benjamin?
I'd be surprised if he went, but it's that thing of as soon as the transfer window opens, weird shenanigans just start happening, don't they? And there was the did you see that list of Barcelona players that are apparently available? It was ridiculous. It was Fabregas, Pedro, Sanchez, Alves, Mascherano and Song. And you don't know who's going to become available when it starts kicking off, doesn't it? And
Alves, that would be a weird one.
apparently, they want to get rid because he's sort of aging, and they reckon they can get a hefty amount for him now. And they're looking at that guy from Fiorentina, Cuadrado, who, if anyone has ever played FIFA, he's got pace like 99.
But he's a midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah, well, they play him as a wing back, but obviously they'd look to.
With pace of 99, he can be any position he wants. He could play in midfield, and then he'll be that quick, he'll get back to right back before you even know it. And then you can lump the ball forward and get back into centre midfield.
Yeah,
Great idea.
Yeah, I strangely watched him tonight. He's obviously, because Barcelona won it, but he was quite impressive. And he is very, very vast. So he's almost got that. He looked like he had the Micah Richards about him, that he could mess a challenge, sit down, have a cup of tea and a muffin, and he could still get back and take the ball off the guy.
When you say vast and you talk about muffins, you mean he's obviously stacked and not just really, really fat. I don't know where his 99 pace will be coming from, if he's looking a bit like Ronaldo of the 90s.
He's an absolute machine, yeah. I don't know. What would you... So if we get to the end of this transfer window and we've done exactly the same as we've sort of done enough, what will you be thinking of that first Premier League game? Will you be thinking, oh, it's Groundhog Day again?
Yep.
What if we sign another Mesut Ozil?
2 Mesut Ozils.
2 Mesut Ozils. This is genius. We're going to do this every window. But no, we just sort of seem to be skirting round... We sort of had the same boring conversation about transfers. Maybe what would he do?
The rhetoric has already been set from Arsenal and the club. I mean, Arsenal's already starting to talk about people don't buy players before the World Cup, and I don't know. That's me paraphrasing, but I know that I've seen an article where he said something along the lines of there won't be much activity before the end of the World Cup.
But is that not his response to Gazidis after last year, where he was like, "We're going to buy Rooney, we're going to buy Ronaldo, we're going to buy this man"? Remember? Is that not?
Yeah.
Is that not Arsene biting back and saying, "Do you know what? I'm not going to say a word"? Because
but did we not do exactly the same thing? Actually, no, we didn't the summer before because we'd bought Giroud and Podolski, hadn't we? So
yeah, it was just the rare one where we did our business quick. Yeah. Didn't we? I remember thinking, God, we signed Lucas Podolski. Yet did I know he would become Steve's BFF at the time. I was frantically tweeting.
And if you remember, Vermaelen was done very early as well. So he does have it in him to do it, but I just wonder whether or not he's had... Dick Law has got a really, really good severance package. So they're just saying, we'll keep him in a role and that's costing us because, he can't even nail down Joel Campbell. So I think he's still looking for Joel Campbell. I mean, they sent him off to Olympiacos, and Dick Law's in Athens going, what's going on?
Where is he? It's a really unfortunate. I mean, it's like Dick Law. It's like vagina law. You know what I mean? It's like, according to Dick Law.
All right, is that like Sharia law, but
for dicks?
Oh God, can you tell this is the end of season? We've got bugger all to talk about. We've spent the entire season playing so many games. Imagine if this was a Liverpool podcast. All they've got is league games, and they've buggered that one up as well.
Can you imagine? Do you think it's better that we lost it months ago and we've had enough time to come round to it than the way Liverpool have lost it, where it's been sort of 2-3 dramatic moments and now they're heartbroken?
No, I'd take the heartbreak of going very, very close.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
That was us last night.
Is Suarez crying on Match of the Day? Because I haven't seen that yet and I want to see it.
No way.
You can't see because he's got his shirt pulled over his head.
Yeah, he was laughing.
I think he was doing an impression of someone out of the Addams Family. I don't know. But that was amazing, wasn't it? Absolutely amazing.
It was surreal because I turned it, when it went 3-0, I was like, I ain't watching this. They're going to get about 5 or 6. So I turned it over to watch the Youth Cup between Fulham and Chelsea, and I was watching that Patrick Roberts. You know, that one that we've been linked with. He's actually very good, but unfortunately Chelsea won. It was funny, the Youth Cup football's like the women's football, where the keepers are pants. So like
really small.
Yeah.
It's like watching under-11s football where anyone that can cross the ball will essentially get 30 goals a season.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think it was like 7-6 on aggregate. And then I sort of had a quick look at Twitter to see that it was 3-2, and I quickly flicked it back, and Palace are unreal. Tony Pulis, I said on Twitter last night that he needs manager of the year and the key to Thornton Heath. He's been incredible. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but Tony Pulis. Really? Oh. Steve?
Do you think it's been wonderful?
Try and say nice things about Tony Pulis. Go.
You ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all. Do you think it's been wonderful, actually, to see the demise of Mourinho and Rodgers?
Oh, yes.
I think it's been wonderful.
It's been good, isn't it? Mourinho seems to be losing his almost little aura, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was criticising, what was his name? Hazard and Matic. Arguably their best players. Obviously, Matic only as recently came, but he's been an absolute revelation, and he seems like he's the way that he used to talk to players. I don't think you can do that anymore. He just sort of openly tries to embarrass them. Like, hopefully that they're going to get some sort of reaction out of them. But I think you could see Hazard on his bike.
I hope so.
I'm not being funny, but we were joking earlier. But some sort of Cavani Hazard swap deal that could be on the cards, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Because he had an interview, didn't he, Hazard, and he said, Chelsea are not set up to play football. We're set up to, was it counter or defend or something? He said, very like, the way it came out, it was very damning. It was like, oh, God. I don't know. Man United have won 3-1.
So who did you say they had a kid playing up front, Ben?
Yeah, James Wilson. He scored 2, and then that man who will not be named got the 3rd.
Oh.
Yeah, so they seem to be
crying into his Cheerios, isn't he?
With no milk.
But anyway, Van Persie, wouldn't it be funny if Louis van Gaal, he will play he's my best mate, he's the Dutch national team coach. If he just ships him out, it would be funny. Ships him out to like Benfica or somewhere. Go out to play for Dundee United or something.
We'll see you at the Emirates Cup. Do you think that Man United can have the same season that Liverpool did, considering that they don't have any European ties next season? Do you think, if it is Van Gaal, he can turn them into this free-flowing, attacking side that is just irresistible?
Well, apparently they're buying everyone, aren't they? So I'm sure
Buy all the players.
Fine.
Hashtag sign them all.
Sign them all. I saw Thomas Müller was linked.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Gratata. I'm not having that. He's
good. I love the way you say, I'm not having that. He's good. So
yeah.
They've got to do. I mean, we think that we've got problems with needing a right back, and then Vermaelen might go, and we'll need another centre back, and then Podolski might go, and we've got to strengthen. We've got to make 4, 5, 6 players. United actually do have to make a minimum of 6 or 7 signings because Ferdinand will be gone, Vidic will be gone, Evra's on his way out. They're going to need another centre forward probably if Van Persie's. If he's going to spend another season injured, then that's a problem. They've got to have more pace into their side because they don't really know what they're doing with Mata. You've got Giggs, who's effectively he's on his last legs. That's him done. You've got a midfield which it would bring a tear to any if this was your midfield of the choice of Cleverley or Carrick, an ageing Carrick who looks like he's not up there. They are hemorrhaging. They've hemorrhaged their talent, and I don't know where they're going to go. I mean, Louis van Gaal is going to have to come in and he's going to have his team talk for the first game of the World Cup qualifiers in Brazil is going to be like, does anyone want to come and play with me next year in Manchester? Anyone? I will sign every single one of you if you let me, because I've got to start all over again with that place.
Johnny Heitinga might go because he's getting relegated.
He just got relegated. It's going to be a mad summer, isn't it? Because Chelsea are going to be trying to sell and buy half their squad. Basically, the ones because this is what's going to be interesting. When you said about Mourinho earlier, it made me think that this is going to be the first time that he's going to have to rebuild the team. Because in his first round, he had obviously Terry, Lampard, and Drogba.
Did he sign Robben, or was Robben already at Chelsea?
I can't remember, but he was going to sign for United, though, wasn't he? That was pretty almost done, and then
they
jumped in at Chelsea last minute. But this is going to be interesting to see what Mourinho's really made of, because he's losing those key players, isn't he? He's blooding through the younger players to become these key players, and this is something that Arsenal struggled with. So we'll see if Mourinho's got that in his locker to actually sort of develop players and decide who is going to be the mainstay. But he's obviously got Gary Cahill, who's he's marvellous, isn't he? He's gone up so many levels this season. He's got Matic in midfield, and he's got to make a decision on, what's his name, Courtois, who looks like he should be an accountant or checking goal.
A really tall accountant.
Really tall. He's massive, isn't he? He's like literally taller than an oak tree.
In his Courtois and Partners office, they would need to build extra big doors. or like a little sort of door with a little semi bit at the top, frame bit at the top, so that his head can walk through or something. So
yeah, just cut a box shape at the top so he can fit his head through.
Ranieri signed him.
Oh, he googled it.
No, I just remembered. Yeah, I googled it.
almost.
Almost a hero.
And they'll have to make a decision on Lukaku as well, won't they? I suppose, but they seem to have a bit of a fallout, haven't they? So
let's make it for them, Arsene. I implore you, if you listen to this podcast, the off chance that you've randomly got nothing to do on a Thursday night, and you just think, oh, maybe I will look on the iTunes and see if the football fans of Arsenal they like to do the podcasts. If he just comes across that and he hears me saying these words, please buy Lukaku. He would be brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
Brilliant.
explain yourself.
Well, he's more of a beast than Giroud. He's got
he's
got a better touch than him.
No, I disagree with that. Go on, keep going.
He's got a better touch than him. He imposes himself on games. He is a fantastic player, and he's 21 years old. He looks like he's been in the looks like he's been a professional footballer since he was like 8, and he was probably about 6'4" then as well.
Yeah, he probably was playing at Steve's son football tournament. They always have ringers, didn't they?
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. There were a couple of tall ones. Maybe it was one of them.
Lukaku, yeah. I don't know. It's that premium, isn't it? Going back to talking about numbers in the squad, it's just you'd have to pay sort of 20-odd million to get him.
Pay it.
Is he worth that? Is he worth that money?
So potentially, he's certainly. I'd rather have a Lukaku than a Remy. I've changed my allegiances already.
Right, so you're in charge of the transfer budget, and who are you going to buy this summer?
I'd pay 20 million for Lukaku.
Would you really? I don't think I would. I don't think he's worth that. But
Lukaku, Lars.
I sound like Arsene Wenger, don't I?
Lukaku, Lars Bender, because Lars Bender can also play right back. Although that would be a makeshift player to play right back. I would keep Vermaelen if you can. I'd keep Podolski in the team. I'd go after a pacey. I don't know who I'd get for a pacey winger, but certainly Bender, Lukaku. That guy who I think is the Ivory Coast international. Is it? I'm going to spell his name because I cannot say it. Aurier. Aurier. Apparently, he looks like quite a tasty prospect, and I've not seen much of him, but it sounds very Sanya-esque. Like when we purchased Sanya for £6 million, it sounds very similar style of player. So, take a Sanya Mark II, and you're laughing.
Do you think he would, given the African Cup of Nations always causes issues, doesn't it? So if it's your first choice right back, do you think that would put him off?
We've got Lars Bender, it's fine.
Lars Bender, you're going to come in and
fill
in it.
You're
going to be our saviour at centre midfield that we've always been after, but you're going to play right back for half the season.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, he's the Championship manager.
Well, come on then, you wise old owls. You tell me what you
The reason I'd buy Lukaku for 20 million is because of his age. You're not just buying him for now, are you?
But it's another one of those players, isn't it? Another one of those players that might
I'm not saying he's not the answer, and I disagree with some of the things that Chris says. He's not the immediate answer, and he's not actually as amazing, I think, as he's made out to be. But he's got so much potential. I was actually quite gutted when Chelsea signed him, to be fair.
So was I. I was a bit worried that he was going to be super. Don't know. Sorry, Steve. Carry on.
That was it. I was finished.
Yeah. Who else would you buy or look at?
Bryan Silva.
Bryan Silva, definitely. Just for the halftime team talks.
He'd get punched up, wouldn't he? Dropping the N-bomb continuously. Aurier would break his face.
But I don't know. People talk about Seamus Coleman as well, but as I said before, Sanya's so much part of our game in terms of his aerial ability as well. Would we try and sign a right back that can fill that gap? Because a lot of Szczesny's play goes to the head of Sanya out on the right. So we'd have to change up a whole kind of style of our play in terms of that.
I think I'd go sort of Aurier at right back, Bender, and I think I'd buy Griezmann, and I think I'd buy Vela, and I think I would fish around at the end of the transfer market to see if I could find another Ozil-esque transfer. So I think I would try and get a couple in early to appease the fans. Not that you should be doing that yet, but I think it makes it a more happy place to be, and just try and fish for this mystery striker, because I can't think of a sort of a big name striker that's possibly available. Cavani. If Cavani is available, would you go out and offer a ridiculous sum of money to get him? Do you think he's worth that? Because seeing him against Chelsea, I wasn't 100% sure that sort of 55 to 60 million bracket is what he should be in.
Let's go out and buy Balotelli or if I can't even say his name. I've had a couple of glasses of wine.
Oh.
Ibrahimovic.
Zlatan!
Just because it would be
Zlatan!
it would be
Zlatan.
2 years of mental insanity that we would just have so much fun, and then he'd disappear off into the sunset like the Lone Ranger. But we'd say at least we had those 2 years with lads.
At least we had you for
Zlatan.
2 years, Zlatan.
Yeah. And he would blatantly deliver on a white horse, a shimmering Premier League trophy, because that's all he does. He rocks up, he delivers a trophy, he then rears his horse and disappears off into the sunset.
Oh man, sounds bliss.
Zlatan doesn't do trials.
Zlatan. Oh man, alive.
Right, so now that we've signed Ibrahimovic, I think that's a good point to probably end the podcast. Have you got any final thoughts before we close off, Ben?
No, I just would quite like to see Diaby at the weekend, just to see if this is all true and it hasn't been a figment of our imagination.
That would be interesting. How about you, Chris?
Only that, I don't think we need Carlos Vela. We just need to teach Lucas Podolski to chip the ball.
Dink!
To lob the keeper.
Hashtag dink. Bring the dink back. Dare to dink.
No, I don't think we could do it. If he dinked the ball, it would go into space. Because
it would just explode.
He kicks the ball so hard. So you're saying we should change Podolski's finishing, the one thing we all agree.
That he's good at.
He just needs to throw in the occasional dink. He just needs to throw in the occasional dink.
Okay. The only final thought from me is that I think we will. I'm going to put a bet on us signing Ibrahimovic now, Chris. It's going to happen.
Quid. It's worth a quid.
It's worth a quid. Cool. Okay, thanks, guys. And we shall see you next week when hopefully I've watched the football. And I'm going to go and watch Luis Suarez cry. Suburban Gooners out.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.